Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to IWM Duxford for the June 6th Flying Day, focused on commemorating D-Day. I'm going to turn the old man off, he's chatting away in my ear. And beautiful day today, a bit of a light breeze coming off the crowd behind me, and I'm looking towards the beautiful P-47 Thunderbolt that's due to be performing for us later. You can take Thunderbolt. Well, let's go through the list, shall we? The displays that we're anticipating. They'll start in about 20 minutes' time. C-47 is kicking things off, taking off at 20 past 1. Yes, we'll take the C-47, 20 past 1, takeoff, display and land, followed closely by the Wildcat. And then we've got a Harvard takeoff and hold. Don't think he's displaying a little bit later, so he'll be taking off, ready for the display later. If I sound like I'm tripping over my words, and if you follow us on Twitter, you might know why I'm tripping over my words. We've had a very busy week. We were over at Waltham on the Wold yesterday for the Rafa Rides event, which we were live streaming. We've driven through the night here to set up 7 o'clock this morning for this broadcast today, which I hope you enjoy. So, Wildcat on at 1:30, followed by 3 Cubs. Can we have a little bit of quiet, please, just so that I can think? Thank you. Got the old man up on the balcony there. He's doing camera 1 today, so I've got the arguably easier job of the wide angle, which I'm looking forward to, because, yeah, as I say, busy week this week. Looking forward to a bit of a rest today, enjoying some flying displays and presenting them to you guys. Grasshoppers, 20-2. Three aircraft out there, 2 in D-Day markings, very fittingly, and I don't know if you can see Tom out there, Tom Turner, who was FTD last week, works here at Duxford. He'll be displaying on one of those aircraft, I forget which position. He's got GoPro mount as well, and if I'd got my act together this morning, I might have charged ours up and recorded a bit of the onboard. Oh, it's very Top Gun this, look at these 3. Has the old man got it? No, he hasn't. No, you take my camera, get these Top Gun. Thank you. So we got the Grasshoppers, as I say, at 20-2. Then following that will be the Harvard in from the hold. James Brown displaying that. Then 10-2, 3 fighters. We've got Spitfire Mark 9, 109, glorious colours. Actually, there's 2 Bouchons sat up there, so not sure which one we'll get. We'll find out. And a bit of anticipation. And then the Mustang as well, which arrived earlier. Trying to identify which Mustang it is. FMC, ARC, LEC. Goodness me. There's a Hilux in my way. We'll find out later. Actually, the Grasshoppers earlier was the Takeoff. They'll come into display at closer to 2 o'clock, followed closely by the Thunderbolt P-47. Beautiful aeroplane. Gosh, it looks huge, sat out there, dwarfing the Cubs, or the Grasshoppers. What a machine. Really looking forward to that. Another aircraft in D-Day markings, very fittingly. As I say, the theme today being just bear with me one moment. Go. Say again, Louis. Interesting. UPS has beeped 3 times. That's our backup power supply system, so it's an indication that we might have lost mains power. So fingers crossed we're all right. Go and have a look in a moment at what that was about. So we have the Grasshoppers, Thunderbolt, as I say. 3. Oh, and I've been giving you a load of rubbish about slot times. A lot of these were takeoff, so. If that Thunderbolt was going out to the hold, we'll actually have the 3 fighters displaying first, and then the Thunderbolt coming in from the hold to display and land afterwards. Then towards the end of the day, fairly short flying display today, but as I say, it's a flying display. And if I haven't really given the explanation of why we're here and why we're doing this. Hello, I'm Ian from Plains TV. We've been live broadcasting air shows for a good decade, and haven't done obviously for the last 18 months or so. Until we popped down to Duxford 2 weeks ago to do the flying day, and the focus really for us in doing these is just getting all the kit out and reminding ourselves how to do this again, and yeah, hopefully providing a little bit of entertainment on the side. So we're running a minimum crew, hence chatting in my ear and dealing with power issues and things like that, whilst we're live, which is always good fun. So yeah, relatively short flying display. Obviously it's a free to view thing. We do pay-per-view broadcasts sometimes in the summer, but yes, hopefully an enjoyable free broadcast for you this afternoon. If you do enjoy what you're seeing, we've of course been doing this for many years. Company's been running for 30 years, and our archive of programs is available to watch on watch.plainstv.com, which is a paid service and helps us fund coming out and doing things like this. So towards the end of the day, I was saying 2:20, we've got B-17, so taking off under the P-47 for a series of passes, and then he's heading off to the Midlands Air Festival, which, if I'm honest, I'd have quite liked to have been at over the last couple of days. Looks like that's been a fabulous show. So if there's anyone in the chat, do let us know if you've been at that show and enjoyed it. We're streaming on Facebook, YouTube and on Twitter. If you pop a comment in there when I get a moment and feel like putting the old man through a bit of tense time as main camera, I will down tools here and hop on my mobile and maybe have a look at a bit of the chat and give a few shout outs. So yeah, do join the chat. It's quite fun chatting with other like-minded aviation enthusiasts through the show. Right, well, I'm probably going to focus... Oh, forgive me. One last item at the end of the flying display. We have the Corsair. No, it just says Takeoff, hold north. I'm presuming he's going to come back and display, but we'll find out at the end of the day. That's towards 2:30. And we do also have the Youngman parked up there as a display reserve. So yeah, I suppose if there's an aircraft that isn't able to take part for whatever reason, that's potentially available as a replacement, and what a fine one it would be too. I say get it up anyway, but we'll see. Yeah, glorious day here. The wind's coming from, goodness, where are we? From the west, northwest-ish. So, you know, off-ground wind, relatively light, so not anticipating any issues there. Yeah, it's going to be good to see the B-17 towards the end of the day. Haven't seen the aircraft display for a very long time, so looking forward to that one. Right, I'm going to ask Louis, who's mixing the show, who, if you enjoy the show, do give him a thank you in the chat. He's had a couple of very early mornings with me. We were live yesterday at 7:15, doing the Raffle Rides show. That was a 5 a.m. start for poor old Louis. And late night the night before as well, so with work I had, so it's been a bit of a slog for us, so bear with us today as we push our way through, but I hope it's going to be a very enjoyable flying display. Right, I'm going to focus my efforts on the camera, and I'll be with you. I hopefully won't have to talk too much through the show. We'll have a bit of a PA feed. It may or may not involve a microphone pointed at a tannoy speaker, so bear with us on the quality of that, but we're iterating each time here at the Flying Days, gradually improving to what I hope will be pretty enjoyable shows by the peak of the summer. Maybe the July air show, which we've got our fingers crossed for. That Dragon Rapide taxing in behind. Isn't it wonderful to be back out at shows, ladies and gents? I'll be back with you later.
is now running up on the jet pan. That is due for takeoff in a few minutes, around about 1:20, to get ready for the opening slot of the day. So those of you who haven't claimed your spot to watch the show, it might be worth heading forwards now, and hopefully we'll get things underway very soon. Good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. If you look out towards the M11 end of the airfield, you will see our first display act making its way out to the runway. This particular aircraft, we're very lucky to have from Aero Legends, sporting some very vibrant D-Day stripes on the 6th of June, a very appropriate day to be wearing them. Dakota is a C-47 and it's for a long time operated out of Coventry Airport by Air Atlantique. Prior to returning to the colours that we see it in today, it was in a very bright red colour scheme. This particular one was returned to RAF markings to take part in the 75th anniversary of D-Day over in France a couple of yeyears ago, and is very fortunate that we have it here today in RAF markings as serial KP220. Now operating on the airshow circuit. In its previous life operated by RVL Group, it wore that bright red and black livery and was actually used on radar trials initially before moving on to a spraying fit, but now back into much more authentic stock condition. Also now running up on the airfield is one of our next display acts to take part after the C-47. That is the Fighter Collection's Grumman Wildcat. Again, appropriate for today, sporting those D-Day black and white invasion stripes.
Sorry, that's me telling Adrian to stay on the C-47. You ignore us giving you orders. I mean that as well. I think that'd be able to take off. All you take off.
So, as our first display act, the C-47 gets airborne. It's going to be followed out shortly for takeoff by the Fighter Collection's Grumman Wildcat and James Brown's Harvard. It is worth noting today marks the 77th anniversary of one of the greatest feats of arms in world history. Operation Overlord was the culmination of many years of planning and involved participants from a host of nations, both at sea, at land and in the air. The use of air power is something that we are marking today, and we'll be seeing examples of fighters, bombers, transports and liaison aircraft that would have played their part in this massive undertaking. The 6th of June 1944 was the day we now commemorate as D-Day, but we mustn't forget the use of the air forces in both the build-up and post-invasion actions that themselves were so very much key to victory. So, ladies and gentlemen, running in from the right, Aero Legends C-47B KP220. KP220 is one of two Dakotas operated by Aero Legends. The other is a more recognisable, possibly American schemed aircraft known as Dragoon, but very appropriately we are seeing an RAF schemed example here today. Hey, you're right. That United Armed Air 95 was transferred to Garin. Spent the late 1940s operating number 24 squadron at Mass. Takeoff, post final pass. Coast way, then down the land, side collect, Grumman, Wildcat. Wildcat there with Ross down off the way. Look out to the left and got the Harvard rolling. One of our final acts today will be Sally currently down build preparation. Pilot plane staff as look out aerolid with coming for the plan. And a below play there flown by and a little bit later on at the helm of Sally itself. And the second of this afternoon's aircraft sported those black and white invasion stripes by the collective drum and Wildcat. Wildcat has been part of the 5 collection fleet since 1993. April of that. Original US mark currently now wears the mark of a Wildcat 5, based on HMS Tracker during 1944, and indeed HMS Tracker was part of the anti-submarine crew to the western approach for the D-Day land, very appropriate for today. Aircraft from home base by the collection, taking part in the show today. Like meant to operate majority of their aircraft to make security staff. So now supporting the market of a Royal Navy Air Arm Wildcat 5. The original built for the US Navy by General Motors Corporation in 1995. But it went straight into storage, was struck off charge in February the following year. Wildcat now just about to make final pass this afternoon. Wildcat comes in. Land, take a look out to the left as our 3 type grass.
Hey guys, Grasshopper's rolling, and I'm sure the old man can get that. Just popping on to say welcome. If you've just joined us, we're live streaming the Duxford Flying Day, focusing on D-Day commemorations. Lovely 3-shipper Grasshoppers going off. What a wonderful sight! I really hope you're enjoying the live. Juggling lots today, as you can tell. Minimum crew for a flying day, just 3 of us here. Got the old man on the tight camera, I'm on wide, and Louis in the cabin there, live mixing. And the old man shouting in my ear regularly to really distract things from me trying to talk to you. What a gorgeous Martlet display that was. Martlet, Wildcat, someone help me out in the chat. And the old man pointing out what a glorious landing it was, a very smooth landing.
In front of us now we're seeing,
if you're enjoying today's show, we do of course have a lot of material available on our on-demand service. It's at watch.planestv.com. Right, let's get back to me filming the aeroplanes and you hearing them, more to the point.
From the left, up. Sound of 3 Rolls-Royce Merlin airfield. We have the Harvard flying above us. Harvard question owned by Heritage, flown today by the owner James Brown. The Harvard was during the Second World War, Canada, and it was acquired by James Brown around 2007 from Sweden. displaying today. First aircraft pilot transited onto aircraft like Fire and Mustang would have flown, and indeed probably the majority of those pilots operating over the Normandy beachhead in 1944 would have had their first taste of a high-performance aircraft in the shape of an aircraft like this. And as the Harvard calls last pass, we get one final look at this beautiful North American trainer before the arrival of the Cubs.
I hope you're all enjoying the show this afternoon. Some really nice displays and some excellent ones coming up. The 3-ship, P-51 Spitfire and ME-109 coming up, and P-47 starting up just now. I spotted a question over on YouTube. I have been sneakily looking at the chat whilst we're live. Gareth Ross UK very kindly asking, is there a tip jar where you can support these live broadcasts? There is. You can give us some money on YouTube Super Chat. And there's stars over on Facebook as well, and they are all very gratefully received, but of course YouTube does take a cut. So Gareth, good question. I think if you go to plainstv.com/donations, I think you can tip us there. I set it up last year when someone very kindly asked the same question, and I think it allows you to PayPal us some cash, which is not a bad idea. You know, we have to eat this evening, and someone's got to pay for it, you know. But the very best way of supporting is, you know, if you enjoy what we do and like to watch back some of the older shows, we've got our 30-year archive, not all of it, gradually bringing it all to that service, but all of the last 9 or 10 years is on watch.plainstv.com. It's a subscription product. Head to watch.plainstv.com, you can start a free trial, get a bit of watch a bit of action, lots of Duxford shows over the last 8 or 9 years, and as I say, that's a subscription product that really does help support what we do, kind of gives us the incentive to come out and do these free-to-air shows. So yes, there is a tip jar, Gareth, I think, at plainstv.com/donations. It's probably about 12 months since I set that up, and I think only the one chap ever used it. I think he sent 50 quid, so thanks to that chap if you're watching. But yeah, you can, I think, use that, and if it's not there, it will be this evening, because you've reminded me. Thank you, Gareth. Right, let's watch the Harvard land, shall we?
a smoke generator fitted for film work. Incidentally, the Bouchon we see today is normally flying around in the markings of yellow 10, Hispano Bouchon that was used during the filming of Battle of Britain in 1968, but today is flying in some desert camouflage, the second version of which that it has flown in this year when it's taken part in filming in a static only role for a BBC dramatisation of the early days of the SAS, due to be aired at some point in the future. It's very likely that the markings that the Bouchon is flying in today will remain for the rest of the season, as they are only temporary. Now here we go for the final and only pass of all three aircraft. Spitfire leading in the markings of 222 Natal Squadron, as flown by Henry Lardner Burke, followed by the P-51 in the markings of Duxford-based 78 Fighter Group aircraft. At the time of D-Day, the Mustang itself would not have been a familiar sight here at Duxford, as the 78 Fighter Group would have still been operating P-47 Thunderbolts, the likes of which we'll see shortly, as they transition to Mustangs after the D-Day invasion. The final aircraft, as I say, Hispano Bouchon, and those particular aircraft didn't see combat during the Second World War, as they were built under licence in Spain, but equipped with the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, which was in far more plentiful supply at that point than the original German Daimler-Benz. And from the right, P-47. In 1944, it's the P-47 Thunderbolt that would have been a very familiar sight overhead at Duxford, operated by the 78 Fighter Group at the time. This particular aircraft was based originally with the fighter collection here at Duxford in 78 Fighter Group markings as No Guts, No Glory, but was sold to America before returning to its current owners in the UK. On arrival in the UK with its new owners, the aircraft was repainted as a Thunderbolt of the 492nd Fighter Squadron, 48th Fighter Group, who were equipped from early 1944 with this particular aircraft, operational from April of that year, and used before and during the Normandy invasion in the ground attack role. fighter squadron, the markings of which the P-47 wears today. Still very much active in Europe, flying as it does today, F-15E Strike Eagles out of nearby RAF Lakenheath. Sally B, rolling on the hard runway.
One more pass from the B-17 by the looks. From the B-17, from the B-47. So the Thunderbolt there chasing down the B-17. I think we're getting one pass with both aircraft in formation.
One of the finer escorts. So very much crucial.
I'm excited to see that. It feels like a real Duxford show, this really nice flying display. Something we haven't seen for a very long time. I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed it. Even the sun's coming out now. If you are enjoying it, it's really thanks to IWM for letting us come along and shoot these shows. It's not a commercial proposition for either of us. It's a hassle to them. It's good fun, but it's a cost to us. And I hope you're really enjoying it. It's a good refresher for us to get back into the flying streaming. Of course, you can support IWM. They have a fantastic membership scheme on a member. Gives you good perks around the museum and access to flying days, I believe. You'll have to check the T's and C's on that one. I'm not speaking on behalf of IWM here, but it's well worth the money, of course. If you've enjoyed today's show and would like to encourage me to do more, the thing that really fuels me along is to see new subscribers on my on-demand service on days where I've been doing these free broadcasts. So do pop along to watch.plainstv.com, sign up, have a browse, start a 7-day free trial, see if you enjoy the content there, and if it gives you a little warm feeling in your soul to know that it's fueling us to come out and do these live shows, then then all good. Let's check out this last fly past B17 and B47.
Unfortunately, as with so many things, COVID put a very much firm stop on Sally B's activities last year, but it's fantastic to see her back up in the sky now, and she's really benefited from that extra time in the hangar, having an extensive wash down and repaint, and is possibly sounding the best that she's sounded in a number of years. Always much in demand as an airshow act, Sally B will be departing after her display for another display this afternoon at the Midlands Air Festival. Despite last year's lack of flying activity on the part of Sally B, fundraising did continue, as it is not a cheap enterprise keeping Europe's only privately owned 4-engine Second World War bomber in the skies. Permanently based here at the Imperial War Museum Duxford over the winter, it can be seen in T2 hangar, and the rest of the year outside on the apron where she'll be parking up later after her second display of the day. Sally B's continued ability to fly and be based here at Duxford as a tribute to the 8th Air Force during the Second World War continues to be thanks to the hard-working team who look after her and the generosity and donations from key companies and most specifically from the general public. Sally B has a very large and thriving supporters club and a merchandise stand where you can find out some more information about this wonderful aircraft, which is just over towards where the Dakota is currently parked, where Sally B was based earlier. and Sally B's final pass. Now Sally B will be returning to Duxford this afternoon following its display at the Midland Air Festival, and as it departs we watch the Corsair begin its takeoff roll. One final point on Sally B as she departs the area, but it's very important from a statement made by Ellie Sallingbow, who so valiantly looks after this aircraft and its history. In a statement she released that we are determined to continue fighting for the survival of this important living piece of our history and heritage, because Sally B flies as a memorial to all Allied airmen who fell in World War II. So to say, if you do want to find out a bit more about the history of this aircraft or do your bit to support her, I'm sure the guys on the merchandise stall down on the corner of the apron near the Dakota will be more than happy to see you this afternoon.
So one last thank you before the show ends. Our internet today being provided by the IT guys here at IWM, and guys working on a Sunday, wrangling cables, dragging it out to us, providing a really good solid connection actually. So huge thanks to them for supporting what we're doing here. It's a really nice sense of community around these shows. Everyone just trying to make the best of the new, better situation we find ourselves in. So very nice, very grateful to them for the support that they've provided. It's like P-47 coming into land.
As we prepare to watch the final round of today's display in the shape of the Fighter Collection's Corsair. Corsair has called up its approach. D, under licence by Goodyear Aircraft Corporation in April 1945. After passing through a number of civilian owners in the States, it eventually joined the fighter collection in 1986, coming here to Duxford. And much like with the Wildcat, originally arrived in American markings, but was repainted into the aircraft that we see in front of us, KD-345, a Fleet Air Arm Corsair based aboard HMS Vengeance in the Pacific during December 1945, operating with 1850 Naval Air Squadron. Around the world. This one is quite rare in that it still flies with fabric coverings on some of the wings, as early Corsairs would have had, whereas a lot of them were later built with fully metal wings. Slightly cranked, that's to accommodate a large propeller but a shorter undercarriage, and due to the shape of that wing, gained a couple of different nicknames during the war, the bent wing bird or the super stuka being prevalent amongst them. As he did the Wildcat at the start of the show, is their chief test pilot, Pete Kinsey. And as if it's not good enough to throw a couple of American fighters around the sky over Duxford today, he's not long returned from ferrying a Spitfire Mark 9 from Biggin Hill to Athens. long as you had small groups and they were escorted.
Oh, I heard a bit of a throttle back there, I think, just preparing for landing, I think. Well, isn't it wonderful to see a bit of raw power out and about? P-47 and Corsair roaring around the skies, glorious skies too. Really good for video with the contrast in the clouds. A bit of dark, bit of light gives a sense of the speed of the aircraft. It's something I always look out for when it comes to video, get excited about, because I'm a nerd like that. I hope you're enjoying the show. It's the second time we've live broadcast the show. The first one 2 weeks ago was the first for about 18 months. So bear with us while we gradually iterate and improve the offering. I hope it's been enjoyable. If it has, please do give it a like and share to anyone else that you might think will enjoy it. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, I know very many viewers who are watching on YouTube now aren't subscribed. Do subscribe. We're doing these regularly. We'll be back here at Duxford in 2 weeks. We'll have a show late July at Old Buckingham, and we'll be trying to squeeze one or two others in where we can. So obviously, still a tricky time for us to throw money at coming out to shows like this. So we're being fairly selective based on what capacity we have to come out to shows. So if you'd like to encourage us to come out to more, please do leave a comment to that effect. But the very best thing to do to encourage me to drag the guys out, pay for a hotel and occasionally throw scraps of food at them, you can subscribe over on watch.planestv.com. That's our on-demand subscription service giving you access to our back catalogue of a programme going back 30 years, a good 10 years worth of Duxford air shows to fill your evenings and weekends with on that service. There's a free trial available so you can test it out if you'd like to. I think Corsair heading back very shortly. I can't see him around the corner there, but I can see a man with binoculars looking very excited. So cross your fingers, we'll get the aircraft touching down. And do stick around. I've grabbed Tom. Keep glancing over my shoulder to see if he's still hovering around. I'm hoping to have a quick chat with him after the flying display. So do stick around. Yeah, I can see Corsair coming in over airspace now. Let's take that.
So if we take a look out now over the M11, we watch the Fighter Collections Corsair coming into land, bringing to a close the flying aspect of today's entertainment. So as the Corsair makes its way back to its parking slot and with the other aircraft shut down, I think it's just appropriate to take a few moments to remember the actions of 77 years ago over Normandy, 6th of June 1944, during D-Day, the day that we are commemorating today. And I think also to take a moment to thank all of those pilots who have flown for our entertainment this afternoon. We've seen aircraft from a number of the Duxford-based operators flown by a number of pilots. Aircraft taxiing in now is the Corsair, and that was flown by Pete Kinsey, and he also opened the show for us in the Fighter Collections Wildcat. Flying the C-47 and indeed the B-17 that's currently departed was Andrew Dixon, and in the Harvard, James Brown. Flying our trio of Grasshoppers was Tom Turner, Matt Pettit and Clive Denny. And then in the three fighters that we saw so fantastically flown earlier was Paul Bonham, Steve Jones and Andy Durston, with John Gowdy in the P-47 and as we said, Andrew Dixon in the B-17. participated today, both in the flying display, in our fantastic range of ground displays, and those who have made it possible to put today's show on. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you to each and every one of you for coming along to Duxford today. It's great to see the airfield buzzing, feeling a bit more alive, something we've really missed over these last 18 months or so. So thank you very much, and thank you to the pilots once more, and enjoy the rest of your afternoons. Thank you. Goodbye.
What a superb show. I really hope you've enjoyed watching today. As I say, we're going to be doing plenty more. Do subscribe on YouTube, follow the Facebook page, and you'll be, hopefully, you'll spot when we're going live again. A very good way of keeping up to date, though, is the email newsletter. I always push that. You can subscribe over at plainstv.com, bottom of the page. Pop in your email address, and those emails come from me. My name's Ian, I run Plains TV, and yeah, it's a direct means of messaging between each other. I send it's an email newsletter, but hopefully it's a personal thing, and you can reply to them and say, don't go to that show Ian, go to Shuttleworth Collection. Believe me, I'd love to. I was going to chat to Tom Turner, who was FDD, Flying Display Director at the last show, and displayed one of the Cubs today. He's found something more important to do. He's going to go and do the debrief. Sounds vaguely important, so we'll leave him to that. I threatened to get him on camera last time as well. I'm beginning to think he's avoiding me, but perhaps we'll record a little interview at the end of this so that we can get his insight really on developing the airshow community. The Flying Days are providing a very good opportunity for people to develop capabilities in airshows. Sounds like a strange thing, but actually bringing in new blood into the airshow scene is quite a challenging thing, and I certainly feel like the IWM Flying Days are providing those opportunities for guys like Tom. If that doesn't sound too patronising, a very capable chap, but FDDing his first show a couple of weeks ago. So I think a thank you for watching. I'll have forgotten lots of thank yous, I'm sure, but particularly of course to IWM for having us, and for just providing the resource that we need, the power of the internet, and not going cross-eyed when I make various requests. Huge thanks to them to allow us to come and provide these live broadcasts of the Flying Days. P. Smithson 16, I love the username. Thank you very much for that £5. If you've enjoyed the show and you really want to dig a fiver out, you can leave a super chat, and I'll try and give you a shout out. I'm sure there's people on Facebook giving stars as well, and thank you for that. If indeed you have, it's a bit of an assumption on my part, but thanks to everyone who's been supporting. I did spot someone subscribe on the on-demand service this morning, so there's people interested. Do go take a look at that at watch.plainstv.com. It's our back catalogue of programmes available to view any time. And yes, those subscribers have helped us through a pretty sketchy year and a half. Good to be back out and about again, though. We will be back out at Duxford in 2 weeks' time. Please subscribe to the email newsletter, and if I get round to it, I didn't this week, but if I get round to it in 2 weeks' time, I'll drop a link in that email newsletter to the broadcast. So let's leave it at that, shall we? Got the old man up there. Oh, he's already got a Scotch egg in hand. Oh, I haven't managed any lunch yet, so that's my next job. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. Bye bye.